Breaking alert from Red Sea coast. Russian Wagner base discovered. Sudan, Port Sudan area, naval facilities, mercenary training, gold mining cover, actually strategic position. This is happening now. It's 8:34 a.m. Eastern Time, CIA headquarters, Langley, Virginia. Classified briefing. Sudan desk urgent. Intelligence breakthrough. Wagner Group base, Port Sudan region, Red Sea coast. Naval facilities visible. Air defense deployed. Mercenary training confirmed. Gold mining operations cover story. Actually strategic base. Russian expansion. African foothold. Middle East access. Suez Canal control. Everything strategic. Everything threatening. Everything discovered. Through intelligence. Through surveillance. Through Navy SEAL reconnaissance. Covert mission. Dangerous operation. Photos obtained. Evidence collected. Wagner base confirmed. Russian presence. Sudan territory. Red Sea threat. Mediterranean connection. Everything revealed. Strategic bombshell. Intelligence victory. But late discovery. Base operational. Russians established. Mercenaries deployed. Reversing difficult. Maybe impossible, but discovered. Finally. Completely. Undeniably. Navy alert monitoring this intelligence revelation. Real-time coverage. Breaking updates. Russian Wagner base. Sudan presence. Red Sea threat. Mediterranean danger. At 8:47 a.m., satellite imagery reviewed. National Reconnaissance Office. Historical archive. Construction timeline established. Base built 2 years ago. Small initially. Gold mining claimed. Economic cooperation justified. Russian investment welcomed. Then expansion. Then military features. Then obvious purpose. Wagner base. Mercenary facility. Naval support. Strategic position. Everything hidden. Through mining cover. Through economic justification. Through corrupt regime. Sudan transition government. Post-coup instability. Russian influence. Wagner money. Regime support. Everything corrupted. Everything compromised. Everything Russian. Base established. Operational now. Threatening region. Controlling access. Suez approaches. Red Sea transit. Mediterranean connection. Everything strategic. Everything threatening. Everything discovered. Late, but completely. Should Wagner operate in Africa? Comment Y or N. Port Sudan location critical. Red Sea coast. Suez Canal approaches. 500 miles south. Naval choke point. Commercial shipping. Military transit. Everything passes. Egyptian control. Saudi interest. Israeli concern. Everyone affected. Russian presence threatens. Wagner base endangers. Strategic position exploits. Through Sudan base. Through Red Sea access. Through regional influence. Russian expansion. Putin strategy. Wagner implementation. Post-Ukraine adaptation. After casualties. After failures. Refocusing Africa. Establishing presence. Building bases. Through mercenaries. Through Wagner. Through deniable operations. Sudan chosen. Regime corrupted. Location strategic. Base established. Mission accomplished. Russian success. American discovery. Intelligence breakthrough. But late. Always late. Base operational. Mercenaries deployed. Threat established. Reversing difficult. Response complicated. Options limited. But discovered. Evidence collected. Intelligence complete. What now? Hit like if you support intelligence operations. Wagner facilities extensive. Main compound. 20 hectares. Perimeter security. Guard towers. Armed patrols. Barracks buildings. 500 personnel estimated. Training facilities. Firing ranges. Obstacle courses. Vehicle maintenance. Armor visible. Tanks probably. Armored personnel carriers. Technical trucks. Everything military. Naval facilities. Deepwater access. Pier constructed. Russian ships visiting. Ammunition resupply. Personnel rotation. Submarine support possible. Nuclear boats capable. Red Sea patrol. Mediterranean connection. Everything concerning. Air defense deployed. Panzer systems. Surface-to-air missiles. Radar coverage. Everything protected. Gold mining operations. Cover story maintained. Some actual mining. Mostly facade. Revenue secondary. Strategic position primary. Russian base essentially. Wagner operationally. Deniability technically. Everyone knowing. Nobody proving. Until now. Until photos. Until evidence. Until intelligence complete. How many Wagner mercenaries operate in Africa? A. 1,000 personnel. B. 5,000 personnel. C. 10,000 personnel. Navy SEAL Reconnaissance Mission. Classified Operation. SEAL Team 10. 6 operators. Infiltrated overland. South Sudan border. Cross-country navigation. Days traveling. Reached target area. Observation positions. Telephoto cameras. Night vision equipped. Days surveilling. Everything documented. Compound photographed. Personnel counted. Equipment identified. Ships documented. Everything recorded. Evidence collected. Then extraction. Dangerous withdrawal. Enemy territory. Wagner patrols. Sudanese military. Everyone hostile, but successful. SEALs extracted. Intelligence delivered. Photos analyzed. Base confirmed. Mission accomplished. 0 casualties. Professional excellence. Special operations capability. Strategic intelligence. Obtained covertly. Risking lives. Gathering evidence. For national security. For strategic understanding. For response planning. SEALs delivered. As always, professional warriors. Intelligence collectors. National assets. Invaluable capability. Navy alert sources confirm Wagner expanding Africa. Central African Republic base. Mali presence. Mozambique operations. Libya involvement. Now Sudan discovered. More bases probably. More locations suspected. Chad possible. Niger probable. Burkina Faso suspected. Everywhere Wagner. Everywhere Russian. Everywhere mercenaries. Why? Resources. Gold. Diamonds. Oil. Uranium. Everything valuable. But also strategic. Influence. Presence. Power projection. Countering America. Challenging France. Replacing West. Through Wagner. Through mercenaries. Through deniable forces. Russian strategy. Putin innovation. Post-Syria adaptation. Effective approach. Low cost. High impact. Deniable operations. If casualties. Wagner blamed. Not Russian military. If atrocities. Mercenaries responsible. Not Russian government. Plausible deniability. Strategic brilliance. Effective implementation. African expansion. Russian influence. Western decline. Through Wagner. Through mercenaries. Through bases. Like Sudan. Like everywhere. Russian advancing. American discovering. Always late. Always reacting. Never preventing. Intelligence challenge. Resource limitation. Priority competition. Africa deprioritized. Wagner exploiting. Russian expanding. American watching. Discovering late. Responding inadequately. Accepting eventually. Uncomfortable reality. Strategic disadvantage. Permanent probably. Is Wagner Russian military or mercenary group? Comment yes or no. Pentagon strategic assessment. Wagner Sudan base threatens what? Red Sea shipping. Suez Canal access. Middle East stability. Israeli security. Saudi interests. Egyptian sovereignty. Everything regional. Everything strategic. Through one base. Through mercenary presence. Through Russian influence. How? Submarine support enables. Mediterranean operations. Nuclear boats. Strategic missiles. Everything possible. From Sudan base. Through Red Sea access. Air defense provides. Anti-access capability. Deny overflight. Challenge surveillance. Limit intelligence. Everything strategic. Naval facilities support. Russian ships. Ammunition resupply. Personnel rotation. Regional presence. Persistent threat. Gold mining generates. Revenue. Self-funding. Reducing Moscow budget. Wagner profitable. Through resources. Through operations. Through everything. Sudanese regime gains. Russian support. Wagner protection. Coup survival. Power maintenance. Everything corrupted. Everyone benefiting. Except civilians. Except region. Except America. Except everyone else. Wagner advancing. Russian expanding. Regional destabilizing. Through Sudan base. Through Red Sea presence. Through strategic position. Everything threatening. Everything concerning. Everything discovered. Too late probably. But discovered. Evidence exists. Response possible. If decided. If prioritized. If resourced. Big ifs. Enormous ifs. Critical ifs. If you want breaking naval news, type Navy alert below. U.S. Africa Command responds. AFRICOM Headquarters. Stuttgart, Germany. Sudan brief. Wagner base confirmed. Regional threat assessed. Military options reviewed. Kinetic strike. Tomahawk missiles. Destroy base. Eliminate threat. But consequences? Russian response. Regional instability. Sudanese reaction. International condemnation. Probably rejected. Covert action. Sabotage operations. Delay capabilities. Undermine effectiveness. Possible. Deniable. But risky. Wagner professional. Security tight. Success uncertain. Diplomatic pressure against Sudan. Regime unstable. Russian dependent. Pressure ineffective. Against Wagner. Mercenaries. Already sanctioned. Maximum pressure. More impossible. Against Russia. Already isolated. Already sanctioned. Ukraine war. Everything maximum. Sudan response minor. Probably ineffective. Options limited. Responses inadequate. Intelligence complete. Action insufficient. Wagner remains. Base operational. Threat persistent. American options. Limited. Complicated. Inadequate. Uncomfortable reality. Strategic challenge. Accepting eventually. Probably. Reluctantly. Dangerously. Regional allies alarmed. Egypt concerned. Suez Canal threatened. Red Sea security challenged. Border instability increased. Wagner neighbors. Mercenaries nearby. Everything concerning. Saudi Arabia worried. Yemen war complicated. Red Sea contested. Iranian threats multiplied. Russian addition unwelcome. Wagner presence dangerous. Everything strategic. Israel calculating. Red Sea access vital. Eilat port critical. Mediterranean connection essential. Wagner base threatens. Russian presence endangers. Strategic assessment urgent. UAE monitoring. Regional investments. Sudanese interests. Port development. Wagner complicates. Russian influences. Everything challenged. Everyone concerned. Everyone wanting action. From America. Always America. Regional security. American responsibility. Wagner threat. American response. Expected. Demanded. Required. But what response? What action? What capability? Questions multiply. Answers limited. Allies expecting. America struggling. Wagner established. Response inadequate. Reality uncomfortable. Regionally. Strategically. Permanently, probably. Congressional Intelligence Briefing. Senate Intelligence Committee. House Armed Services. Classified session. Wagner Sudan revealed. Photos shown. Evidence presented. Strategic assessment delivered. Senators alarmed. Representatives concerned. Questions urgent. How many Wagner bases? Where else operating? What's Russian strategy? How do we respond? Answers insufficient. Because Wagner everywhere. Because Russian strategy comprehensive. Because American response inadequate. Because everything complicated. Senators demanding action. Representatives requiring response. But what action? What response? Military strikes? War risks? Diplomatic pressure? Already maximum. Economic sanctions? Already comprehensive. Covert operations? Resource limited. Success uncertain. Options inadequate. Responses insufficient. Congressional frustration. Administration explanation. Military assessment. Intelligence limitation. Everything complicated. Nothing satisfying. But reality. Wagner operational. Russian expanding. American responding. Inadequately. Slowly. Reactively. Always behind. Never ahead. Strategic disadvantage. Permanent condition. Uncomfortable truth. But truth nonetheless. Senators accepting. representatives acknowledging, frustration continuing, but understanding. Maybe, partially, reluctantly. Technology analysis shows capabilities. Air defense sophisticated. Pantsir S-1 systems. Radar tracking. Missile engagement. Aircraft threatened. Drone vulnerable. ISR complicated. Intelligence difficult. Surveillance challenged. Naval facilities capable. Deepwater pier. Large vessels accommodated. Russian frigates. Submarine tenders. Ammunition ships. Everything supported. Communications advanced. Satellite links. Encrypted transmissions. Moscow connected. Real-time coordination. Strategic integration. Training facilities comprehensive. Ranges. Courses. Classrooms. Everything professional. Not improvised. Not amateur. Russian military standard. Wagner implementation. Professional capability. Through mercenary cover. Through deniable structure. Through Wagner brand. But Russian essentially. Moscow controlled. Putin directed. Strategic instrument. Deployed globally. Africa especially. Through Wagner. Through bases. Through Sudan. Through everywhere. Expanding continuously. Threatening persistently. Challenging systematically. American interests. Western influence. Regional stability. Everything threatened. Through Wagner. Through mercenaries. Through Russian expansion. Discovered eventually. Responded inadequately. Accepted reluctantly. Strategic reality. Uncomfortable truth. Permanent condition, probably. How should America respond to Wagner expansion? Comment your prediction. State Department diplomatic offensive. Sudan ambassador summoned. Wagner base protested. Russian presence condemned. Mercenary operations criticized. Regime corruption noted. Everything complained. Formally, officially, ineffectively. Because Sudan ignores. Because Russian money talks. Because Wagner protects. Regime choosing. Obvious choice. Profitable choice. Survival choice. American protests noted. Russian support maintained. Wagner base continues. Diplomatic failure. Again. Predictably. Frustratingly. European allies consulted. France especially. Former colonial influence. Regional interests. Wagner hatred. Mali experience. Car involvement. Everywhere Wagner. Everywhere French decline. Everywhere Russian advance. Through mercenaries. Through influence. Through brutal effectiveness. French furious. European concerned. NATO worried. Everyone wanting American action. American leadership. American response. But America also struggling. Also challenged. Also inadequate. Against Wagner. Against Russian mercenaries. Against everywhere expansion. Nobody succeeding. Everyone frustrated. Wagner advancing. Russian expanding. Western declining. Through Africa. Through bases. Through Sudan. Through everywhere. Systematic. Strategic. Successful. Unfortunately. Intelligence community analyzes pattern. Wagner strategy comprehensive. Africa focus. Resource extraction. Regime support. Base establishment. Everything coordinated. Everything strategic. Countering West. Challenging America. Replacing France. Through mercenaries. Through brutality. Through effectiveness. No democracy required. No human rights demanded. No conditions imposed. Just security provided. Just resources extracted. Just regime supported. Effective approach. Successful strategy. African leaders choosing. Wagner over West. Russian over American. Mercenaries over military aid. Results over rhetoric. Money over morals. Survival over values. Pragmatic choices. Brutal choices. But choices nonetheless. Wagner winning. Through violence. Through corruption. Through effective brutality. Africa shifting. Continent realigning. Influence changing. Russian advancing. Chinese expanding. American declining. European retreating. Through Wagner. Through bases. Through Sudan. Through everywhere. Strategic competition. Africa battlefield. West losing. Slowly. Steadily. Persistently. Through Wagner. Through mercenaries. Through Russian expansion. discovered late, responded inadequately, accepted reluctantly, strategic failure, comprehensive failure, permanent probably. Military options reconsidered, special operations, SEAL team mission, sabotage base, destroy capabilities, covert action, deniable operation, possible, risky, but possible, JSOC planning, mission development, target analysis, risk assessment, presidential authorization required, decision pending, approval uncertain, because risks enormous, because consequences unpredictable, because Wagner response dangerous, but considering, actively, seriously, because base threatens, because Wagner expands, because Russian advances, something required, action needed, response demanded, maybe covert, maybe deniable, maybe special operations, SEAL capability, Ranger option, Delta possibility, everything considered, everything planned, everything briefed, presidential decision awaits, authorization needed, action possible, if approved, if ordered, if prioritized, big ifs, critical ifs, decisive ifs. Meanwhile, Wagner operates, base functions, threat persists, Russian advances, American plans, slowly, carefully, inadequately, probably, maybe, uncomfortably. Final status: Russian Wagner mercenary base discovered Port Sudan region, Red Sea coast, naval facilities, air defense, training compound, 500 personnel estimated, gold mining cover story, actually strategic base, Suez Canal approaches, Mediterranean connection, Middle East access, everything strategic, Navy SEAL reconnaissance, photos obtained, evidence collected, intelligence complete, Pentagon alarmed, congressional briefed, allies consulted, diplomatic protests filed, military options considered, covert operations possible, but Wagner remains, base operational, threat persistent, Russian expansion, African presence, strategic position, regional influence, everything established, reversing difficult, response inadequate, accepting reluctant, reality uncomfortable, but real, undeniable, permanent probably, through Wagner, through mercenaries, through Russian strategy, effective, brutal, successful, against American interests, against Western influence, against regional stability, everything threatened, through Sudan base, through Red Sea presence, through strategic position, Wagner established, Russian advanced, American discovered, late always, inadequate response, strategic disadvantage, permanent condition. This is Wagner. This is Russian expansion. This is African reality. Brutal, strategic, effective. Unfortunately. The answer? B. Approximately 5,000 Wagner mercenaries operate across Africa. CAR, Mali, Libya, Mozambique, Sudan. More countries probably. More personnel suspected. Expansion continuing. Russian advancing. Through Wagner. Through mercenaries. Through everywhere. Systematically. Successfully. Permanently probably. Should America use special operations against Wagner? Will more Russian bases appear? Can Wagner expansion be stopped? Hit like if you want real-time intelligence coverage. Subscribe to Navy Alert, where maritime news breaks first. Wagner operations, Russian expansion, African bases, Red Sea threats, strategic competition, all covered, all reported, all analyzed. This is what we do. This is why we matter. This is Navy Alert.